Hello, welcome to a new video. I very quickly lost daylight because I got distracted and now it's already 4:15, so I've thrown on this lamp, but I am pretty sure the light's gonna go darker and darker throughout this video, so just as a pre-warning. Today we're gonna be chatting about some knitting and crocheting pattern. I asked my Instagram story a while back now for some knitting and crocheting patterns, even sewing patterns I think, that have been on your sort of to be made list. I've actually, I think, filmed this video before, but I was really unhappy with the sound and just everything about it, so I scrapped it, and it's been a few months now and I think I'm ready to give it another go. I got so many submissions that I can do more of these videos if you like this kind of format. I think this is just a really nice opportunity to talk about some fun patterns, and I think it's also really highlighted which patterns are particularly popular at the moment, because a lot of these patterns were mentioned multiple times and it gave me really good insight into what other people are into, because I feel like you do just kind of end up being in your own bubble and only really look at the things that you're personally interested in. So I think this is a nice opportunity for all of us to broaden our horizons and just look at what everyone else has been into. In no particular order, we're going to start with the hood pattern by Cosmaudi. I'm so going to butcher some of these names, but this hood is actually how I became aware of this pattern designer. She has some incredible designs, but this Chroma hood in particular is just incredible. I love her use of colour in this especially. I've done a few videos just on scrap yarn projects before, and I actually was meant to include this pattern in one of my videos but completely forgot about it, and I was gutted afterwards when I was editing that I didn't get to mention this, so I'm glad we're now able to talk about it. I love how chunky it is. I like a hood that's a bit looser around the head. I think she has a really good way of making crochet stitches more interesting. Not that there's anything wrong with crochet looking like it's crochet, but this hood in particular, you can't even really tell that it's crochet, but it's also not quite knit, so I think overall this is super intriguing. I'm really glad someone brought up this pattern because I am also absolutely obsessed with it. Someone also mentioned her Kelly hood, which again has a really lovely sort of chunky feel. This time the ribbed pattern is sort of going lengthwise. The chunky sort of hem around the face is really good as well. I love every single colour sort of scheme that these other people have done, and I think it's also handy that the bottom is a bit shorter, because a lot of my hoods are quite long and sometimes it is a bit of a pain to like stuff them in if you're already wearing sort of a chunky turtleneck jumper. Then we have the apple scarf by Studio Klara. I think at the time of submission this pattern wasn't yet available, but I'm glad to say it now is, so you can actually buy it. I love this sort of trend that's been happening both in crochet and in knit of the long scarves that have like a continuous design, and it reminds me of the Dash Hound scarf. I forgot who it's by, but I'll obviously add it in here. But this apple one is so cute. I have actually never done double knit before, but it obviously makes complete sense for a scarf especially to have a pattern on both sides. Then we have the Romanseco jumper. This is truly so unique. I especially am obsessed with this cobalt blue. I think this would also be really nice in a white, and I also think this would be really cool as a cardigan or like a zip up jacket, so you can throw it on. These things are all super subjective, but I personally don't think I would actually end up wearing this just because it kind of seems like a, I don't know, textural nightmare. If anyone's made this pattern before, what is it like under a coat as well in particular? I'm very intrigued to know. But yeah, I mean, this in itself is literally like an art piece. It's so incredible. I'm always absolutely blown away by the creativity that people have, and then also the technical skill to just like create this. It is honestly so fascinating. Then I of course had so many petite knit submissions, and to be honest, I agree, I pretty much like anything petite knit. The cloud sweater has been mentioned multiple times, and I do really like this pattern. It seems like a really nice dupe for the the viral toast jumper. This is just an ideal sort of basic. It has a lovely loose shape. The hem is really interesting as well, sort of the rolled up hemline, but still then the sort of ribbed design. I don't know, it's really fascinating. Then someone mentioned the Esther jacket. I really like this sort of seed stitch of this. I actually, towards the end of last year, made my own sort of seed stitch pattern. I've not been that experimental with my like knit stitches, but the seed stitch I really like the look of. I don't think I would necessarily have the patience to do this sort of jacket. It is really beautiful. I think actually the main thing I like about this is the shape. I think that's what I like Petit knit really for, like in general, is the shapes of the designs. They are always quite boxy and oversized. Very similar to that, someone mentioned the Ingrid sweater. It also kind of has like a variation of different stitches and different patterns. This also looks really fun to make, quite interesting. It's not really a bit of me. I think it's a bit too slim fitting in this case, and I think I'm actually quite boring with my designs. There's just too much going on for me here, and I think I would prefer just like a simple cable knits design over this. But this is not to say that this isn't beautiful and incredible and so clever. I especially like these sort of holes that have been created in between some of the patterns. Those I really like. I like a good like lacy feature in a project. Then lastly, someone also mentioned the Louvre sweater, and I have, I believe, spoken about this pattern in a video. I can't actually remember what video that was, but I also really love this jumper. I've recently kind of gone off raglan a little bit, but this seems quite different. I like how low the arms sort of start, like there's a lot of room, and it again makes it really boxy. I like how long the hem is and sort of how long the neckline stretches out for as well. But I can 100% see myself making this if I was to make a petite knit pattern instead of just freehanding random jumpers as I usually do. Then this pattern would definitely be the one for me. Then as a more abstract idea, someone mentioned that they'd like to do a large granny square vest. And I actually have also been saving a lot of these on Pinterest as well. I love anything that this designer does. I love her use of colour, of like bold stripes, bold sort of patterns. But she in particular has made this sort of granny square vest. I want to say she's made, yeah, this one as well, which is really cool because through the use of that chunky yarn and those really bold colours, the granny square vest seems like such an amazing statement piece. I like the shoulder connections that she did on this one, and also the use of ribbon to hold it together at the front. These are so easy to replicate. If you've done a few sort of granny square projects before, you will not even need a pattern for this, and it probably also won't take you that long. If you use a chunky yarn and you make these massive granny squares, I think you can do them in like a few hours and your vest is literally finished. Then someone also mentioned they wanted to make a 1-button cardigan. I actually really empathize with this. I wear pretty much all of my cardigans just with the top button sort of done up. If I was to make this, I think I would still just make my cardigan with all of the buttons and simply just button the top one. But there are a few patterns that I found on the Drops Design website that I think are quite interesting to look at. I think generally you could follow any cardigan design and simply just attach one button and make one buttonhole instead of all of them. But I guess if people are looking for more specific sort of 1-button cardigan patterns, then this crochet jacket is really cool. Again, I think I have spoken about this before because I really like the crochet design in general, but yeah, they've only attached 1 button there at the top. This jacket is really nice. It gives a proper sort of like 90s early 2000s sort of feel with the collar as well. And even though I'm not biggest fan of like a slim fit jacket, cardigan, jumper in general, this one I really like the look of because it is slightly more cropped. It kind of feels more natural for that to be like slim fit. And then in contrast, if you're looking for something more oversized, then this one is really great. It's super chunky. It does just have that 1 or 2 buttons at the top there, and then it just falls really loose at the bottom. Then someone mentioned this wild oleander hooded scarf. I hope I said that correctly. And despite the fact that the colours in this one aren't really my go-to colours, I like to keep it a bit more simple or like a block stripe. I actually also think that there's too much fabric around the head. I think it's nice to have something that you can just kind of throw on, but I think I would get overstimulated with everything else laying around. Again, this is very subjective. This is just something that I've preferred recently. I haven't really been wearing scarves either. I just like a very straightforward, like slim neckline on my hoods, so I don't have like so much fabric going on. So if you are similar to me, then I would actually suggest this crochet pattern as an alternative. This is still the kind of hood that you can just sort of throw on, and it does have a substantial amount of fabric around, just not as much layering. I have actually made this pattern before and I really like the final outcome. This is how mine turned out. I'll put it on and show you. So yeah, you still have the option to just pull it up or pull it down. You could obviously make it a lot more oversized as well if you wanted to, and then it just falls down here. And yeah, it's a pretty cool crochet pattern. And then if you're looking for a knit alternative, this Going North hoodie also looks really good. This has a more similar shape to the Wild Oleander pattern, and it very much is kind of more a scarf that you have enough room to pull over. So this is definitely a great alternative for all you knitters out there. Then we only have 2 more patterns left. One of them is the waffle pants pattern, and these are so cool. I definitely think I would prefer them wide legged rather than cinched at the bottom, but I'm pretty sure you can just adapt that, you know, as you prefer. I love this sort of waffle stitch. I think it is really cool. I like that they broke it up sort of to create the knee patches as well. Hats off to anyone who's got the patience to make these. These are so intricate, especially around the waistline as well. Again, I'm very intrigued if anyone's ever made these before. How long did it take you? Was it quite time consuming? Was it a lot quicker than you thought? I'd love to know. And the last pattern that we are going to talk about is another pattern that I'm so glad got brought up, because I have also been obsessed with this for a long time. And it is the Alba cardigan by Rose Svane. That is so not how you say her last name, so we're just going to call her Rose. This cardigan is so cool. I love the collar. I love the stripe. I love the granny square. I love the button hem. I love everything about it. I love the shape of it as well, the sort of boxy feel. I love how this very much feels like a finished jacket piece, and you don't really focus that much on it being a crochet jacket. Like, the first thing I think when I look at this is, wow, this is really cool. And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's crochet. It also reminds me of the Ganni jacket, this like blue, red and white bomber jacket type thing. That is absolutely incredible. This is such a cool, clever, simple but intriguing design, and I 100% would make this pattern. This would fit in so well into my wardrobe. In fact, I really should just make it. I don't know why I haven't yet because I do really love it. That is all the 10 patterns that we're going to talk about in this video. Like I said, there's many more that people have submitted, so if you like chatting patterns and want to get even more pattern inspo, then I can make a few more of these videos. You might hate this format because sometimes actually there are too many good patterns out there, and then it gets overwhelming and then you don't do any of them, which is probably the main reason why I kind of just freehand everything, because like committing to one pattern seems daunting. I don't know why. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week for a house themed video. I think I'm trying to alternate them currently, just because I realized that my audience is very split now. Like, the people who are interested in my knit and crochet content will probably be interested in my Reno content because that's still kind of creative, but the people who have found my channel through my Reno content don't necessarily find my knitting and crocheting content that interesting. So I don't know if I'm just sabotaging the algorithm of my YouTube channel by doing this, but I like making both videos. In fact, I would love to do videos about like books and my sort of scrapbooking stuff as well, but I feel like I'm really polarizing people on my channel if I start integrating even more of my interests. So I'm gonna keep alternating between Reno and knit and crochet for now. Anyways, I will see you next week. See you then. Bye.